are recording, so we are ready when you guys are.
Hello, everybody. My name's Jeff Nash. I'm here on behalf of www.fastlanehandicapper.com. This is our inaugural broadcast, and I'm here with my good friend and handicapper, Lefty Lou Cappelli. Lou, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure, Jeff.
Now, Lou and I have been handicapping races for many, many years. And I have to say, on the website, which has been very successful in identifying the horses that could or should win, Lou Cappelli, as celebrity handicapper, has been the top handicapper. So what he says today about the 101st running of the Kentucky Derby, pay very close attention. Me, maybe not so much.
Jeff is way too modest.
Well, we're also being broadcast to the Camden County Down in Derby Festival at the great, beautiful Cooper River Park on Derby Day. Lou, you want to talk a little bit about Down in Derby?
Yes, so if you go to CamdenCounty.com, you can get all the details, but we have a big screen to watch the race, and we will be featuring New Jersey wines at the party. So you can get tickets online, show up, have a great time on a beautiful setting on Veterans Island at Cooper River in Pennsauken. Enjoy the race and New Jersey wine.
Well, the wine could probably help in the handicapping because the Kentucky Derby is the most difficult race to handicap in all of horse racing. And why that is because this is the only race that you will find running at 1 mile and a quarter, which is a long distance, but to have 20 horses qualified for the race. So at every beginning of the Kentucky Derby, there is a cavalry charge, and that causes a lot of bumps and bruises and takes horses out of position. So traditional handicapping could be out the window as soon as the race starts. But we're going to give it a try anyway. What Lou and I are going to do is go through each of the horses, talk about them, and then make our selections. And hopefully with enough wine at Down in Derby, you'll be making the correct selections. Why don't we start with the one horse, Lou? That is Citizen Bull.
Well, Citizen Bull was unfortunate to pick the one spot, Jeff. As you know, that's a very difficult pole position to win from. But my other problem with Citizen Bull is I don't think he's very good at distance running. If you watch the Santa Anita Derby, the distance certainly got to him. So I am not picking Citizen Bull to win anything here in the race.
I have to agree about that one post position. Citizen Bull is a speed horse, meaning that it likes to run out in front. If the other 19 horses lean in and block him from getting a clear break, his race is essentially done.
No doubt.
But I will say the greatest trainer or the most successful trainer in Kentucky Derby history is trainer Bob Baffert. Now, Bob Baffert trains the one horse. He also trains the 4-horse Rodriguez, which we'll talk about in a moment. Never discount any horse that is trained by Bob Baffert. Bob Baffert is making his return after a 4-year suspension. Why was he suspended? Because in his almost 7th win, they found drugs in the horse's test, and they disqualified his 7th Derby winner. So he does have 6, and he does have these 2 horses. Just have to be very careful to make sure you don't discount his horses too quickly. Let's go to Neo Equus, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is a $22,000 yearling purchase for people who buy and race horses at a modest level, like 2 people we know in this room. We know that to buy a horse for $22,000 and have it end up in the Kentucky Derby is actually a dream come true, not to mention the $290,000 the horse has earned in purses. So good investment. But what do you think about Neo Equus?
I think it's a fast horse. He'll start off fast, perhaps lead the race early on, but he's never run beyond 6 furlongs. So I'm very concerned about the distance. Although he may set the pace, I think he will fall behind as the race goes on.
Yeah, I agree with you on his prospects. Certainly one of the long shots in the race. The third horse is a horse that I've been taking particular attention to, and that is Final Gambit. This 3-year-old was homebred by the Juddmonte stable, which is one of the most elite farms owning racehorses, breeding racehorses in the country. This colt is trained by Brad Cox, who is one of the great trainers in the racing game today. And this horse has only run 4 times. His first 3 races, maiden races, were not overly impressive. The speed rating in those races were not very good. And he then, in March, steps up to a stake race, albeit a grade 3 stake race, in the Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway Park, and just clocks the field. He starts the race dead last and runs from last, circles the field, and wins that race by 3 lengths as a 15-1 long shot. What do you think about this horse?
I was watching that race, Jeff, and I was very impressed. I'm like, wow, where did that horse come from? Looked really impressive. Seems to be improving. So at 30-1, probably a horse you want to think about, because if he keeps improving and runs his best race, he could be in the money somewhere. But I think this is the first time he's running on dirt.
That's correct. This horse has run on synthetic surface 3 times, 1 time on the turf. His breeding would suggest that he will take to the dirt, but I wonder why they did not run him on the dirt originally, and why they're waiting to the Kentucky Derby of all races to run on the dirt.
I don't know. I was wondering that myself, but you can never underestimate Brad Cox either.
Yep, Brad Cox, one of the great trainers. This is his only horse in the race, so I'm sure that there's good reason to put him in the race and to give it a shot. What I like about this horse as well is that he's gray. It's always fun he's not the traditional brown horse. Moving to the 4 horse, this is the second Bob Baffert horse, and this is the 4 horse Rodriguez, ridden by Mike Smith. What do you think about Rodriguez, Lou?
Well, Rodriguez will have early speed and looked very impressive in the Wood Memorial. But in subsequent races, he was beaten easily, actually, by Citizen Bull and by Journalism, another horse we're about to talk about. So it seems to me like Rodriguez had his pinnacle at the Wood Memorial and has not repeated that performance since then.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, again, you have to be careful because it's a Bob Baffert trained horse. His outing in the Wood Memorial was outstanding. He went wire to wire with a very fast speed rating. But as to your point, he was not challenged in that race, so had a comfortable ride on the lead. In this race, we can expect to have 5 or maybe 6 horses that are going to run immediately to the lead, compete with each other, and theoretically burn each other out. Whether Rodriguez can compete under those circumstances remains to be seen. Let's move to Wayne Lucas's horse. Now, Wayne Lucas, for those who don't know, is a 90-year-old trainer and is still bringing it to the track. He's got this horse, American Promise. What's your thoughts on American Promise?
I like American Promise, especially at 30-1. If this horse stays towards the front, as everybody gets out of the gate, he can be a contender. I would not rule out him winning this race. I think he's been improving with each race, has good speed, and could be a big surprise in this race.
Yeah, I think he's getting a lot of attention. The American Promise was purchased as a yearling for $750,000, so he must have been a very impressive baby at the time of the sale. And again, Wayne Lucas has won the Derby before, not in a few years, but he has won the Derby several times in the past and noted to be one of the great trainers. So American Promise is a long shot that Lou likes. We're going to go to the next 2 horses, the 6 and the 7. One is Admire Daytona, and the 7 horse Luxor Cafe. These horses are shipping in from Japan. No horse overseas coming into America has ever won the Kentucky Derby. The closest, I believe, was 1971 with Canonero II, won the Derby, but he was from Puerto Rico, so not technically overseas. These 2 horses are going to give it a shot. They're going to try. I will note that Luxor Cafe, the 7 horse, has beaten Admire Daytona on 2 occasions. But again, knowing what their running style is, the level of competition in Japan may not measure up to what we see here in Kentucky. What do you think about the Japanese horses?
Well, Admir Daytona, I'm not impressed with at all, quite frankly. Went back and looked at a couple of his races, kind of counting him out of anything in this race. Luxor Cafe is interesting. His dad is American Pharaoh. He's definitely the better of the two Japanese horses. And for some reason, he's 15-1. So he's not at 30-1. There must be something about this horse the bettors like.
Yeah. The fact that he has won 4 of 6 starts in Japan is impressive. And I think the level of competition overseas is catching up to America. As you mentioned, American Pharaoh, this horse was sired in Kentucky and then shipped over to Japan. So he has American bloodlines and the pedigree of a Triple Crown winner, which you can never discount. It'll be interesting to see how he fares in this race. Let's move on to number 8, and that is the presumptive favorite, Journalism. Journalism, this horse was purchased as a yearling for $825,000. His sire is the great champion Curlin. His broodmare sire is the champion Uncle Mo. There's everything to like about the pedigree, but only thing better than his pedigree is this horse's record. He has run 5 times. He's won the last 4. He wins, not only just wins, he overtakes and clobbers his opponents down the stretch. His final quarter times are unmatched in this race. Hard to imagine a better horse on paper.
I agree. And pulling the pole position of 8, I think was perfect for this horse. Like you said, at San Felipe and at Santa Anita, at that Derby, this horse ran away with it. Very impressed with this horse, and we'll have a lot more to say about him later.
Yeah. Really a superstar on paper. Of course, the race is not run on paper. And as we've seen, like in 2022, when Rich Strike won at 80-1, you never know.
You just don't.
Going to the 9 horse, Burnham Square. This horse has been successful. He has won 3 of 6 races in the money 5 of 6 times. What's your thoughts on Burnham Square?
I just don't think this horse has run up against great competition. So although he has a great record, I just don't see the horse being in the money in this race.
Yeah, he was the favorite going into the Fountain of Youth Stakes in Florida, but came in 4th, losing to the number 18 here, Sovereignty, and the number 2, Noquist. So we'll see how he fares on this date. The one positive factor for Burnham Square is that he's a mid-range horse, so he'll be sitting back behind those fast charging leaders during the early going and could be in a striking position come down the stretch, similar to the running style of Journalism. Let's move to number 10, and this is Grande. Grande is owned by Mike Rapoli, who is a Queens boy. We both grew up in New York at the same time. I made the mistake of going to law school while Rapoli was selling vitamin water out of the back of his trunk. He sold that company for $1 billion. Wow. And consequently now owns Grande and all the other great horses running in New York. But Grande is the least experienced horse in the field. He's only run 3 times. Your thoughts?
He's been improving in every race. And Pletcher's a great trainer. So I'm impressed with this horse. And I think if this horse keeps improving, he could be something that will need to be dealt with by some of the favorites in this race.
Mike Rapoli owns many horses. His greatest dream is to win the Kentucky Derby. He had the favorite last year, Fierceness, if you remember that.
Yep.
And Fierceness did not run well, so he has not captured his dream. This horse, despite his inexperience, may be the horse to capture that dream for Mr. Vitamin Water.
And I did pick Fierceness last year, so don't follow what I say.
Let's go to the number 11, Flying Mohawk. Flying Mohawk is he's running for the first time without blinkers since his first maiden race. The trainer decided that he did not need his blinkers or would improve without blinkers. What's your thoughts on this horse that's never run on the dirt as well.
Yeah, I was going to say he's a turf horse. I think this is a big different type of race for him in the dirt, number one. And number two, he's never raced against competition like this.
Yep, I agree. He finished second to Final Gambit in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. His last time out, again, it was on the synthetic track. It wasn't on the dirt. So it would take, in my view, a lot of improvement for him to be competitive in this field. Let's move to number 12, and this is the front runner, East Avenue. Lou?
East Avenue, the short history is very inconsistent. He's had some good races and had some bad races. So with that type of inconsistency, I don't see this horse playing a major role.
Yeah, so you have about 6 speed horses. So that gate's going to open. 6 of these horses are going to charge and vie for the lead, assuming they don't get bumped and bruised and pushed back at the cavalry charge at the beginning of the race. This horse is one of those horses. He runs in front. If he's not in front, he will lose. That is his history. He was running in front in the Bluegrass Stakes. He ran a competitive race, lost by a nose to Burnham Square in that race. The race before that, the Risen Star, he could not get to the lead. He was running second, and he ended up finishing 10th. Right. So that is the inconsistency that you reference. Number 13 is Publisher, an interesting horse, trained by Steve Asmussen, who's an outstanding trainer, one of 2 Asmussen horses in the race. This horse has never won.
No.
He's a maiden.
No.
0 for 7.
That's what I was going to say. And Asmussen has never won a Derby. And I think the jockey, Irad Ortiz, has never won a Derby either.
That's correct.
We have a horse that's never won with a trainer and jockey that have never won the Derby. So I'm not giving this horse much consideration.
But if he did win, it would solve 3 problems all in one race. But I agree. It would be remarkable to win your first race as the greatest race of all.
That's right.
It's a lot to ask. Number 14 is an interesting horse. Tistastic is also trained by Steve Asmussen. This was a yearling purchase for $335,000. The horse has won 3 of 8 races in the money 6 of 8 times. So he has been winning some money. In fact, his purse earnings are about $1.6 million. So that $335,000 investment 2 years ago seems to be paying off. What's your thoughts on Tistastic?
He's a very good closer, which could be good for this race. I think at 20-1, he certainly should play into your exotics one way or another. It's a good horse who is a good closer. And the way this race is going to be run, I think good closers can be in the money.
Yeah, and if you have those 6 horses burning themselves out, it's the closers who will be finishing up. What was really interesting about Tistastic is his last race. The prior 7 races were unremarkable, in my opinion. He was faring well. He was coming in the money in some grade 2 and grade 3 stakes. But his last race, the Louisiana Derby, was 1 mile and 3/16, longer than most of the prep races. The race pace was very fast. He was almost dead last for the first 2 quarters, and then caught fire, and his speed rating was significantly higher than any other race before. So the question is, was it just a really good day for this horse, or is this horse on the improve? Because if he's improving and you have the front runners burning themselves out, this horse as a closer could be very competitive down the stretch.
No doubt about it. How long were his first races?
First races were, he started out as a maiden at 6.5 furlongs, went to 1 mile. Most of the other races were 1 mile and 16.
Okay.
Moving to number 15. This is for some sentimental favorite. It's Render Judgment. He's partially owned by the late Toby Keith. So one of Toby Keith's, from what I read, one of his great dreams was to have a horse running in the Kentucky Derby. And unfortunately, Toby Keith passed away recently, and now his horse is running in the Derby. So it would be, for sentimental reasons, a great story On paper, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, sentimentally, I hear where you're coming from, but I'm just not impressed with this horse at all, frankly.
Yeah, his prior 7 races, he did win one, his maiden race, but his speed ratings don't compare to the other horses in the race. Moving to number 16, Coal Battle. What's your thoughts on Coal Battle?
Coal Battle cannot run this distance and win. That's my thoughts. If you look at his record, it's shorter races, has some success, but I do not think I think the distance at this race is too long for him to win.
Yeah, his pedigree says that you are correct. His sire, the average winning distance for his sire is only 6.5 furlongs. That's the lowest average winning distance of any sire in this race. And it's not held by his broodmare sire. That average winning distance is 6.6 furlongs. That is really not comparable to some of the great pedigree that is in this race. So I would tend to agree. You got to give the horse credit. He comes in the money most of the time. He has won some lower level stake races, but can he beat these horses at this distance? I tend to agree with you. Moving on to number 17, one of the other favorites in the race is Sandman. This is the winner of the Arkansas Derby. He's won 3 of 8 races, in the money 6 of 8 races. His earnings are $1.3 million in his short career. Certainly listed as one of the favorites. What do you think about Sandman?
Well, he was great in the Arkansas Derby. Very impressive, ran very well. But the level of competition in the Arkansas Derby this year was not that great, quite frankly. So is he as good as he looked in the Arkansas Derby? I guess we'll find out, but certainly one to consider.
Yeah, until he won the Arkansas Derby, he had never won a stakes race before. The Arkansas Derby was very unusual because the early speed in that race was through the roof.
Yep.
I think that race was going to be faster than what we're even going to see in the Kentucky Derby, notwithstanding the 6 speed horses that are entered. So Sandman is worthy of interest, but I agree, not sure he measures up to the journalisms in the race. Number 18 is an interesting horse, and that's Sovereignty. Sovereignty, trained by the great William Mott. His sire is the top sire in the country, Into Mischief. His broodmare sire is Bernardini. The horse has incredible pedigree and connections. What's your thoughts on Sovereignty?
I like this horse. I think he's a very strong horse. He's got a great late kick to him. Was it the Florida Derby or which?
The one that he won was the Fountain of Youth.
The Fountain of Youth, that's what it was. Yes, and very impressive in that race. He seems to just want to lay back, let those with a lot of speed burn themselves out, and then he makes a kick at the end. So I like Sovereignty.
Yeah, I like him too. And this is the 3rd race off a layoff, which is normally a positive factor for a horse. His connections, again, are great. The Florida Derby, he came in 2nd to a horse that got hurt and not entered here. He came in 2nd, but he was wide, 3-4 wide in that race.
He actually he drifted out wide. Right. I remember watching that race, and if not for the drift out wide, he I think would have won that race.
He went into that race as the favorite. He also, back in October, when he was a 2-year-old, he beat both Tistastic and Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
So the horse obviously has the connections. He has the talent. He's got the perfect running style. He doesn't like to start dead last. He likes to be kind of mid-pack, which is perfect for this race.
Yep.
Could end up being a race between Sovereignty and Journalism down the stretch. But I like this horse as well.
And I think being in pole position 18 is very beneficial for this horse. I think it reduces the chances of being caught up in all the traffic, settle in where he likes to be, and wait for the run at the end.
That is a perfect post position for Sovereignty. Moving on to number 19, Chunk of Gold. This is my favorite horse in the race. And why? Not because of his name, certainly not because of his record, but the owners purchased this horse for $2,000 as a yearling. So they saw something that no one else in the horse racing world
they saw a cheap horse.
If you want a cheap horse, this is the way to get it. They spent $2,500 at the Fasig-Tipton October sale for yearlings, and he has earned in 4 races $350,000.
Wow.
He's in the Kentucky Derby. The owners are pinching themselves, I am sure. I wish I was them. Actually, it's one person. Terry Stevens is the owner, and what we call him now is Lucky Terry. But what do you think of Chunk's possibility here?
It's a great story, and we would all love to see an underdog win, being from Philly, but I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it. It's just not good enough of a horse with this competition.
It's already the best $2,500 spent ever.
Yeah, he's already won. I mean, he should be pinching himself, like you said. $2,500 for a horse, and you're in the Kentucky Derby. You won. That's a win.
It should happen to us.
It should.
Number 20 is Owen Almighty, and this is another high cost yearling at $350,000. I look at the pedigree and not sure that this horse can maintain the distance of 1.25 miles. What do you think about Owen Almighty?
I agree. The pedigree and his history shows that he just can't run this long of a race.
Yeah, he'll be one of the early goers.
Yep.
But he'll be starting in the 20th post position, which is, I think you're closer to the moon than you are the rail. So Owen Almighty is going to have really a challenge at the beginning of this race. If he doesn't set up in the top 1, 2, or 3 spots, we can presume that he's going to be out of the race for good. I normally don't do this, but I have to include number 21. This is an also eligible Baeza. Now, Baeza does not run in this race unless one of the other 20 horses scratch. It happened in 2022 when Rich Strike was number 21 at 80-1, ended up winning the race. But Baeza is a quality horse. And how much did the ownership pay for him at the yearling sale? $1.2 million. That is a lot of money for a yearling. It reflected the breeding of the horse, the conformation of the horse, everything that the ownership loved about this horse to prompt them to spend $1.2 million. Finished second to journalism in the Santa Anita Derby. What's your thoughts on Baeza?
I think if Baeza gets in, I'm gonna consider Baeza in some of my exotic bets. I think he's a good horse, and certainly can have an impact if he makes this race.
Yeah, he's trained by John Sheriff, and who won the Derby back in the 90s, I believe. So this would be a great story if this horse somehow entered into the race and was successful. All right, so those are the 20 horses. Now it's time to pick our winners. I'm going to start with you, Lou.
Okay.
Who is your winner?
My winner is Journalism. I see Journalism winning this race. Perfect pole position for him, 8. And the speed horses will get up ahead of him. As you said, I think he'll sit back where he needs to be. And he's such a strong and fast horse. He'll get stronger as the race goes on and win. Now, Sovereignty, I like as well. As long as Sovereignty doesn't get too caught up in traffic, he could be pushing Journalism at the end and even surpass him. It's important for Sovereignty not to get caught up in that traffic jam that often happens in the Kentucky Derby. And my pick for 3 is American Promise. I think American Promise will have a strong finish and just sit back after the early leaders get out there and make a strong push at the end. So I'm going to bet Journalism to win. I'm going to box and exacta with Journalism and Sovereignty, Journalism and American Promise. I'm going to use all 3 of them in a trifecta box. And I'm also going to put a win bet on American Promise at those odds as my long shot.
So lefty Lou Cappelli is going with number 8, Journalism, number 18, Sovereignty, and number 5, American Promise.
Correct.
That's the lefty Lou. Take it to the bank. I'm going to join you on Journalism. I see this race perfectly set up for Journalism to sit mid-pack, let the 6 or so speedsters burn themselves out, rate the horse come around the turn and take off down the stretch. His final quarter numbers in his prior races are through the roof. If he was dead even with anyone at the top of the stretch based on past performances, he would outrun that horse. I am interested in number 4, Rodriguez, and here's why. Number one, it's a Bob Baffert horse. You never discount Bob Baffert. I'm wondering if all 6 horses are going to vie for the lead and that maybe a few of them get cut off. And if Rodriguez can sit in front or close to the front at a modest pace, he is strong enough, his pedigree is strong enough to sustain a 1.25-mile race. And then you have Journalism charging down the stretch. And I do think Journalism will beat Rodriguez, but I think Rodriguez is going to stay strong and tough and hang in there. I also like Sovereignty. Sovereignty for the same reason that you mentioned, Lou. He is a quality horse that seems to be on the upside and getting better. He will be mid-pack. For my long shot, I'm going with number 3, Final Gambit. Now, I don't know if this horse is going to take to the dirt. I don't know if he has the experience to win, but his final quarter time in the Jeff Ruby Stakes, his last race out, which he went from last to first. I know the competition doesn't measure up against these horses, but it was outstanding. His final quarter time is a fast time, no matter where you are, what track you're at, or who you're running against. It was superhuman fast. Well, super horse fast. And so I'm going to use Final Gambit as my long shot. So my bet will be Journalism in front, Rodriguez second, Sovereignty third, and my long shot is Final Gambit. I'll have all kinds of combinations of those horses. But we do appreciate this opportunity and to speak to you. It'll be posted online. We'll see everybody on Saturday at the Down in Derby Festival, Cooper River Park. It's very exciting. And Lou, thank you for working with me on this show.
Thank you for inviting me, mentor. I appreciate it.
Don't blame me. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Good luck in the Derby.